Continued. The manuscript of I Am the Man, Chapter 4, A Search for Knowledge, the Alchemistic Letter. Allow me briefly to refer to a few men of the alchemistic type whose records may be considered with advantage. Rhasis, a conspicuous alchemist born in 850 AD, first mentioned orpiment, borax, compounds of iron, copper, arsenic, and other similar substances. It is said, too, that he discovered the art of making brandy. About a century later, Alfarabi killed in 950 AD, a great alchemist, astonished the king of Syria with his profound learning, and excited the admiration of the wise men of the East by his varied accomplishments. Later, Albertus Magnus, born in 1205 AD, noted for his talent and skill, believed firmly in the doctrine of transmutation. His beloved pupil, Thomas Aquinas, gave us the word amalgam, and it still serves us. Contemporaneously with these lived Roger Bacon, born 1214 AD, who was a man of most extraordinary ability. There has never been a greater English intellect, not excepting his illustrious namesake, Lloyd Bacon, and his penetrating mind delved deeper into nature's laws than that of any successor. He told us of facts concerning the sciences that scientific men cannot fully comprehend today. He told us of other things that lie beyond the science provokings of today, that modern philosophers cannot grasp. He was an enthusiastic believer in the Hermetic philosophy, and such was his erudition and advanced views that his brother friars, through jealousy and superstition, had him thrown into prison, a common fate to men who in those days dared to think ahead of their age. Despite, as some would say, of his mighty reasoning power and splendid attainments, he believed the philosopher's stone to be a reality. He believed the secret of indefinite prolongation of life abode in alchemy, that the future could be predicted by means of a mirror, which he called almuchi, and that by alchemy an adept could produce pure gold. He asserted that by means of Aristotle's secret of secrets, pure gold can be made, gold even purer and finer than what men now know as gold. In connection with other predictions, he made an assertion that may be with seemingly unreasonable predictions to be verified in time to come. He said, "It is equally possible to construct cars which may be set in motion with marvelous rapidity, independently of horses or other animals." He declared that the ancients had done this, and he believed the art might be revived. Following came various enthusiasts, such as Raymond, the ephemeral, died 315 AD, who fled like a meteor into his brief, brilliant career. Arnold de Villanova, 1240 AD, a celebrated adept whose books were burned by the Inquisition on account of the heresy they taught. Nicolas Flamel, of France, 1350 AD, loved by the people for his charities, the wonder of his age. Our age will not admit the facts, on account of the vast fortune he amassed without a visible means of income outside of alchemical lore. Johannes de Rupercissus, a man of such remarkable daring that he even, in the year 1357, reprimanded Pope Innocent VI, for which he was promptly imprisoned. Basil Valentine, the year 1410 AD, the author of many works and the man who introduced antimonics into medicine. Isaac of Holland, who, with his son, skillfully made artificial gems that could not be distinguished from the natural. Bernard Trevisan, born 1406, who spent $30,000 in the study of alchemy, out of much of which he was cheated by cruel alchemic pretenders, for even in that day there were plenty of rogues to counterfeit a good thing. Under stress of his strong alchemic convictions, Thomas Dalton placed his head on the block by order of the virtuous and conservative Thomas Herbert, squire to King Edward. Jacob Boehme, born 1575, the sweet, pure spirit of Christian mysticism, the voice of heaven, than whom none stood higher in true alchemy, was a Christian alchemist, theosophist. Robert Boyle, a conspicuous alchemical philosopher, in 1662 published his Defense of the Doctrine, touching the spring of weight of the air, and illustrated his arguments by a series of ingenious and beautiful experiments that stand today so high in the estimation of scientific men that his remarks are copied verbatim by our highest authorities, and his apparatus is the best yet devised for the purpose. Bohr's law was evolved and carefully defined 14 years before Marryat's Discours de la nature de l'air appeared, which did not, however, prevent French and German scientific men from giving the credit to Marryat, and they still follow the false teacher who boldly pirated not only Bohr's ideas, but stole his apparatus. Then appeared such men as Paracelsus, born 1493, the celebrated physician who taught that occultism, esoteric philosophy, was superior to experimental chemistry in enlightening us concerning the transmutation of baser metals into gold and silver. And Guepo Francisco, born 1627, who wrote a beautiful treatise on elementary spirits, which was copied without credit by Comte de Gabalis. It was incredible that the man Guepo Francisco, whose sweet spirit thoughts are revivified and breathed anew in Undine and the Rape of the Lock, should have been thrown into a prison to perish as a hermetic follower. And this should teach us not to question the earnestness of those who left us a legacy, the beauty and truth so abundantly found in pure alchemy. These and many others, contemporaries, such conspicuous and others whose names do not shine in written history, contributed incalculably to the grand aggregate of knowledge concerning the divine secret which enriched the world. Compare the benefits of Hermetic philosophy with the results of bloody wars ambiguously waged by self-exacting tyrants, tyrants whom history applauds as heroes, but whom we consider as butchers. Among the workers in alchemy are enumerated nobles, kings, and even popes. Pope John the 22nd was an alchemist, which accounts for his bull against impostors, promulgated in order that true students might not be discredited, and King Frederick of Naples sanctioned the art and protected its devotees. At last, Count Cagliostro, the checkered Joseph Balsamo, born 1743, who combined alchemy, magic, astrology, sleight of hand, mesmerism, Freemasonry, and remarkable personal accomplishments that altogether have never since been equaled, burst upon the world. Focusing the gaze of the church, kings, and the commons upon himself, in many respects the most audacious pretender that history records, he raised the Hermetic art to a dazzling height and finally buried it in a blaze of splendor as he passed from existence beneath a mantle of shame. As a meteor streams into view from out the stars' mists of space, and its coruscating glory sinks into the sea, Cagliostro blazed into the sky of the 19th century from the nebulae of alchemistic speculation, and extinguished both himself and his science in the light of the rising sun of materialism. Cagliostro, the visionary, the poet, the inspired, the erratic comet in the universe of intellect, perished in prison as a mountebank, and then the plodding chemist of today, with his tedious mechanical methods and cold, unresponsive, materialistic dogmas, arose from the ashes and sprang into prominence. Read the story backward, and you shall see that in alchemy we behold the beginning of all the sciences of today. Alchemy is the cradle that rocked them, fostered with necromancy, astrology, occultism, and the progeny of mystic dreamery. The infant sciences struggle for existence through the dark ages, in care of the once persecuted and now traduced alchemist. Accepted, combined, for our present civilization is largely a legacy from the alchemist. Begin with Hermes Trismegistus and close with Joseph Balsamo, and if you are inclined toward science, do not criticize too severely their verbal logoria and their romanticism, for your science is treading backward. It will encroach upon their field again, and you may have to unsay your words of hasty censure. These men fulfilled their mission and did it well. If they told more than men now think they knew, they also knew more than they told, and more than modern philosophy embraces. They could not live to see all the future they eagerly hoped for, but they started a future for mankind that will far exceed in sweetness and light the most entrancing visions of their most imaginative dreamers. They spoke of the existence of a red elixir, and while they wrote, the barbarous world about them ran red with blood, blood of the pure in heart, blood of the saints, blood of the Savior, and their allegory and wisdom formulae were recorded in blood of their own sacrifices. They dreamed of a white elixir that is yet to bless mankind, and a brighter day for man, a period of peace, happiness, long life, contentment, goodwill, and brotherly love, and in the names of the white elixir they directed the world toward a vision of divine light. Even pure gold, as they told the materialistic world who worshipped gold, was penetrated and whelmed by this subtle, superlatively refined spirit of matter. Is not the day of the allegorical white elixir nearly at hand? Would that it were! I say to you now, brothers of the 19th century, as one speaking by authority to you, cease, some of you, to study this entrancing past. Look to the future by grasping the present. Cast aside, some of you, the alchemical lore of other days. Give up your loved allegories. Is it a duty you must relinquish then? There is a richer field. Do not delay. Unlock this mystic door that stands hinged and ready, waiting the touch of men who can interpret the talisman. Place before mankind the knowledge that lies beneath its rivets, in the secret lodges that have preserved the wisdom of the days of Enoch and Elias of Egypt, who propagated the Egyptian order, a branch of your ancient brotherhood. It is to be found concealed, much knowledge that should now be spread before the world and added to the treasures of our own adepts. This Kabbalistic wisdom is not recorded in books nor in manuscripts, but has been purposely preserved from the uninitiated in the unreadable brains of unresponsive men. Those who are selected to act as carriers thereof are, as a rule, like dumb water bearers, or the dead sheet of paper that mechanically preserves an inspiration derived from minds unseen. They serve a purpose as a child mechanically commits to memory a blank verse to repeat to others, who in turn commit to repeat again, neither of them speaking understandingly. Search ye such hidden paths, for the day of mental liberation approaches, and publish to the world all that is locked within the doors of that antiquated organization. The world is nearly ripe for the wisdom faculty, and men are ready to unravel the golden threads that mystic wisdom has inwoven in her web of secret knowledge. Look for knowledge where I have indicated, and to gain it do not hesitate to swear allegiance to the sacred order, for so you must do to enter entrance to the brotherhood, and then you must act what men will call the traitor. You will, however, be doing a sacred duty, for the world will profit, humanity will be the greater. Peace on earth, goodwill to man, will be closer to mankind, and at last, when the sign appears, the white elixir will no longer be allegorical, it will become a reality. In the names of the great mystic Vazman, go thou into the lodges, and learn of their secrets, and spread their treasures before those who can interpret them. Here this letter ended. It was evident that the writer referred to a secret society into which I could probably enter, and taking the advice, I did not hesitate, but applied at once for membership. I determined, regardless of consequence, to follow the suggestion of the unknown writer, and by doing so, for I accepted their pledges, I invited my destiny. My guest of the massive forehead paused for a moment, stroked his long white beard, and then, after casting an inquiring glance on me, asked, "Shall I read on?" "Yes," I replied, and the man who did it proceeded as follows.